Thank you for listening to the Following Films podcast. I'm Chris Maynard, and today's episode is a real treat for film fans. I'm excited to be joined by Jon Heder, who audiences around the world first fell in love with in Napoleon Dynamite, and who has continued to build a fascinating and varied career ever since. Jon is here to talk about his latest film, Tapawingo. We dive into what drew him to that project, the themes at the heart of the story, and how it fits into his career at this moment in time. We also take some time to look back at his experience working alongside Billy Zane in Waltzing With Brando, sharing stories from the set and reflecting on that unique collaboration. It's a fun, thoughtful conversation about creativity, longevity, and finding meaningful projects along the way. So settle in, enjoy my conversation with Jon Heder. Hope you enjoy the show. Thanks. Jon, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So this has been, I'm excited to be talking to you right now because I loved Waltzing With Brando earlier this year.
Cool.
And then to see you guys together again in this, in such wildly different films.
Yeah.
But they show a range within you as a performer that I think people might not realize unless they did this as a double feature, where there's a moment in Brando where you're reading the book to Brando, and it's something that could come across as so disgustingly Hollywood, but the way that both of you play it, it's actually charming and vulnerable. And in the same way, there's things that you do in this film that are so absurd and over the top, but you manage to play them with so much heart that it just ingratiates you to the audience in a way. Could you just talk about this fun year you've had so far with these two films?
It's wonderful. It's both, shot a little while ago because, especially with independent films, them being independent films, it takes a while to put it all together in the edit and get all the pieces lined up just right. But I couldn't be more proud for two very, very different projects that were both extremely fun to work on. And I loved the connective tissue with Billy, having done, I had met him first. Well, I didn't meet him, but I'd signed on to do Waltzing first with him. And then that was kind of put on hold. And in the meantime, we shot, I got offered this movie, Tapawingo. And the director, Dylan Narang, was like, hey, I've got this for the bad guy in the film. I got Billy Zane. I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to do a movie with him. And I thought that was cool. So we got to meet on set. And it was very brief. He plays a smaller role. And we got to do a little bit. And I got a little sense of Billy, there. But then it wasn't until, a year or so later, we went to Tahiti and shot this movie. And now we're like, oh, now we get to swim naked together in the ocean and really bond.
Well, it's one of those
things. We beat each other up. We swim together. We had a lot of bonding moments. It's great.
Well, you assume that it's something that there was by design, like you, as an audience member, you go see one film, you're like, they hit it off so well. They're going to work together all the time now. And you guys have chemistry. I would not have thought, you guys are able to play off each other really well. It's actually very impressive.
Well, good. I'm glad that comes across. It was very cool. And like I said, I'm very excited that you have these two very different films. One, Waltzing is kind of drama with, light comedy in there. But it's all based on reality and period piece, this and that. And then you have this much lighter, kind of weirdo comedy a la Napoleon Dynamite meets Wes Anderson meets, you have these quirky characters that heightened reality and crazy outfits and hairdos and stuff like that. And both, just kind of hit the mark. And I think, and I'm very happy with both. Yeah.
Well, in Tapawingo, I think the key for me is that you never feel that the filmmakers or the performers are laughing at the characters. You feel like there's genuine heart and affection for each one of these individuals, because would be like punching down if you were making fun of these characters. But I feel like you do have genuine love for these people, and that comes across, and it makes it a very warm, lighthearted film that I think in the wrong hands, it could come across as mean spirited, I think.
Yeah. No, the key to all these, I mean, most films, but especially with these kind of, like comedies that are set in a small town and you really want people to kind of understand that world and jump in there because, some comedies, the audience is the same as all the other characters in the film, and it's the main character that you're kind of, watching their comedy and stuff like that. But in this movie, you are just the audience member because everybody else it's not so much the main character reacting to everybody else, and they're all one flavor, going against this type. Everybody's kind of their own bizarro character, and you have to love those characters. I mean, I saw it when I read the script the first time. Brad DeMaria, who wrote the script, he you could feel that with these characters that he loved each and every one of them. The good guys, the bad guys. There's real. They're all just kind of oddball people in their own way and just kind of clashing in a different way. It's not like good versus evil per se. It's just everybody's trying to figure out how to be cool in their own world.
Well, and that's the universal truth about it, that I think this is almost like an examination of the interior where we all feel goofy and we feel like this is how we look to the outside world to some degree. Because that, at least for me, when I was, younger and I thought about when I cared about something like being cool and trying to be, have my appearance and those things, that I felt like one of these characters in a way, even though I probably was not perceived that way. I do feel like that's the way that the world viewed me.
Yeah. No, it's there's a cluelessness there with each of these guys, but again, there's a sincerity when they commit to their objectives, even if they don't know what those objectives are. They have they have commitment to it all, and you can feel that, and so they're genuine, and I love that.
When you're working on a film like this, how aware are you of the sequencing of scenes? Because a lot of the comedy comes out of how scenes are put together and how you transition from one moment to the next. And so, the idea of when you're going to the rec center to work out and then it cuts to you guys and what the actual workout is after you were looking through your Mercenary magazine and to see what you guys are doing, it's just delightful. It's so fun. And but it's something that I think that, again, you could try to play it where it's too weak and it wouldn't work, but you could play it where it was too strong and it would be overdone. But it's that just beautiful little balance of the two of you tossing around that medicine ball that just works perfectly for the characters.
It's always a challenge when you get in there and you're like, okay, you can read the script and you can break it down and then, you're shooting more often than not out of sequence and you don't know exactly. All right, you can try to get as much as you can from the director, but even the director is like, okay, sometimes you discover that stuff in the edit afterwards, and sometimes they know exactly how this is going to go. You're trying lots of different things, and I remember on this project, because there was a lot of scenes, a lot of locations, a lot of transitions, and I knew stuff was going to get cut. Stuff was going to possibly, I knew that stuff was going to get cut, but everybody hopes that everything you shoot is going to make it in. But I had it all color coded and all figured. I was like, okay, I think this is that moment, and then this happens after that. You just have to map it out, and it's tough, but a lot of it is trust. You just trust in the editor and the director that they're gonna, pull this together and make the story work based on your, performances. So you just like, all right, let's just go for it.
So when you're talking about color coding, is that sort of the emotional sort of arc of the scene, or how you should be playing it, or how does the color coding of that work for you?
For, every actor is going to be different. For me personally, it is kind of like different storylines and different characters. And a lot of times it's also relationships. Okay, here's the storyline of my relationship with Gretchen character,
right?
Kim Matula's character. And then here's mine and Will's character, Jay Picardo.
Who's wonderful in the film, by the way. He's great.
Everybody's amazing. I thought everybody's amazing. It's a very strong cast. But because, my character has these different relationships with all the different characters, Oswald and, and the Tar Waters, and you have all these. So you're tracking that storyline. You're tracking everything happening with his mom, Amanda Burse, who's also amazing. I mean, everything with Amanda and John Ratzenberger, who, her boyfriend, is so much fun. I love it.
Any one of those subplots of the film, you could hang out in them for another movie. Yeah. Easily. It could have just been a family drama with you, your mom, and this, mom's boyfriend with John Ratzenberger. It could have been that thing, and it could have hung out. And I was happy with any of the characters you introduced. And it's really rare that happens, to have just this much of an ensemble piece that you actually enjoy all of the different characters and, spending time with them. So you got something really special here, John. This is one of those ones that there's not many comedies that I can sit down and watch with my 15-year-old and my 10-year-old. And I would feel very comfortable watching this with both of them, and all of us probably enjoying it in different ways. So congratulations, man. You got something special here.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, it was really nice to meet you. And thank you for taking time out of your Friday, and congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, man.
All right.
Thank you
too.